Hello everyone, today we'll be working on 8.3, graphing f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, part 1. So let's see here, this is going to be our homework for today, page 436, 3 to 11 odd. Let's get started. So number 4 in the book. This question asks us to find the vertex, axis of symmetry, and the y-intercept. So let's start off with the vertex. Our vertex is going to be right over here. That's our vertex. And you can pause this video and figure out what that point is, right? That point is -3, 2. Now we need to figure out what our axis of symmetry is. And remember, the axis of symmetry is going to be on the same, the vertex is going to be on the same line as the axis of symmetry. So our axis of symmetry is going to be this line right here. This is where the change happens, right? So if we were to write this, how would we describe this line? We would write it as x is equal to -3. So remember, the vertex and the axis of symmetry should be somewhat similar because the vertex is going to be on the axis of symmetry, right? This -3 is the same one as the -3 over here because these 2 points, notice, are on the same line. Okay, so let's do the y-intercept now. Our y-intercept is right over here. That's where our parabola crosses the y-axis, and that point is 0, -2. Okay. Now, this question asks us to find the axis of symmetry and the vertex for the graph f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 8x minus 1. Before we get started, let's label what each part of this represents. So 2 is going to be our A, positive 8 is our B, and -1 is our C. So take a look at this core concept right here. This will be really important when we solve this question. So before we can figure out what the vertex is, we want to figure out what the axis of symmetry is. That's the first thing we need to figure out. Once we figure out what the axis of symmetry is, we can use that information of what x is equal to figure out what our vertex is. Because the axis of symmetry will tell us what x is equal to. So let's start with axis of symmetry. Okay. So axis of symmetry is -b over 2a. So from here, our b is, let me see here. Our b is not negative, just 8. And our c, or 2 times a, and our a is 2 again. So we have -8 over 4, which is equal to -2. So that means our axis of symmetry is -2. Okay. Let's see if I can zoom out of here real quick. So now that we know that our axis of symmetry is x is equal to -2, we can use that to plug it back into our original equation. Our original equation is 2x squared plus 8x minus 1. Let's write that down over here. 2x y is equal to 2x squared plus 8x minus 1. So wherever you see x, we're going to replace it with what? we're going to replace it with -2. And I recommend putting it in parentheses. Okay. So what is -2 to the power of 2? That is +4. 8 times -2 is -16 minus 1. And if we simplify this, we're left with 2 times 4, which is 8, minus 16, minus 1, which gives us y is equal to -9. So how can we use this information? What does -9 tell us? Well, this is negative, this is the y, right? So to figure out what our vertex is, we have -9 so far on the y side. But what is our x? Well, x is whatever we plugged in the very beginning. So we're going to plug in -2 right here. Because remember, the vertex is on the axis of symmetry. So whatever answer we have right here is going to be right there. And that's all you need to do. So now let's try number 8 in the book. And remember, you can go ahead and pause this video real quick and label the A, B, and C. Okay, so our A is 3. Our B is +2. What is our C then? We don't have a C here. So if it helps, you can just put +0. And remember, C would have been our y-intercept. That means our y-intercept is going to be 0. So once again, we're going to start off with the axis of symmetry. And now test yourself and see if you can remember the formula to figure out the axis of symmetry. The formula is x is equal to -b over 2a. And let's go back and check what our b is. Our b was 2. And let's bring that 2 from here down. Remember, it's right here. And then our a is going to be 3. So when we simplify this, we're left with -2 over 6, which is equal to -1 over 3. Okay, so remember, this is our axis of symmetry. So now we can use this information and plug it back into our original equation. Let me do this in a different color, actually. So now we need to figure out what the vertex is. To figure out the vertex, we can just plug it back into this equation. So we have y is equal to 3 x squared plus 2x. So let's replace all the x's with -3, -1 over 3. So if we simplify this, if we square -1 over 3, we're left with 1 over 9. And now, if we multiply 2 times -1 over 3, we're going to have -2 over 3. So let's simplify this down some more. 3 times 1 over 9 is 3 over 9. And positive times a negative is a negative. And if we simplify 3 over 9, we're left with -1 over 3 minus 2 over 3. And 1 over 3 minus 2 over 3 is negative 1 over 3. So we know that our y is negative 1 over 3. Once again, what is our x? It's whatever we calculated up here for our axis of symmetry. So it'll be negative 1 over 3 again. So remember, the key point in this lesson today is that the axis of symmetry is going to have the vertex. This vertex and axis of symmetry are going to have the same exact x. And because of that, we can easily calculate what the axis of symmetry is from this equation right here, negative b over 2a. And by doing that, we can calculate what the vertex is. Because if we calculate what our x value is, we can plug whatever our x value is to original equation and get y. And remember, the homework is page 436, 3 to 11 odd, and we'll continue with part 2 tomorrow.